The Heritage Foundation was started almost a little over 40 years ago, actually, by some individuals who thought that conservative thought, ideology, and philosophy really had the correct answers to many of the difficult problems facing our country. They didn't see necessarily party politics as the way to go, so Heritage is not Republican or Democrat. The Heritage Foundation promotes conservative philosophy, ideology, and thought. There used to be more conservative Democrats, and there used to be more liberal Republicans. And I think what's happened is that this sort of toxic stew has taken over, and the lines are more sharply drawn and divided. And we find that now the Democrat Party is viewed as more progressive and the Republican Party is viewed as more conservative. I'm not sure that's actually the case because, as you point out, there are those individuals within those parties who do have some flexibility. But as a conservative, I am hopeful that I can have dialogue with Democrats and Republicans, and I will hold both their feet to the fire. Particularly as African Americans, we have no permanent friends and no permanent enemies, only permanent issues. I happen to believe that the issues are more closely aligned with conservative thought, philosophy, and ideology. My definition of a black conservative is someone who has the audacity to believe what their grandmother taught them. It's not deep, it's not complicated, it's not hard. In my family, you know, if someone got pregnant, they didn't even think about having an abortion. In my family, we raised those kids, and the family came together. So the value and the dignity and the sanctity of human life. I remember feeling hurt and disappointed when I, as a pro-life Democrat, was told there was no place for me in the Democrat Party. And that was a wake-up call. So I think matters of faith, matters of life, issues with entitlements, by the way, I think welfare has absolutely ruined the African American community. Everybody needs a helping hand every now and then, and that's exactly what we should have. But it was never intended to be a lifestyle for generations and generations. So when I go in and talk about how to take that program and make it something that empowers people, lifts people up, gives them hope and opportunity, but not as a way of life, what people hear is, oh, you just want to take our check. I have no interest in balancing the federal budget on the backs of poor people, but I do want to create a system where people who genuinely need help can get it, but by the same token, my grandmother taught me to work for what I earn, so I want a work component in there. But we can't let the government become mom and dad to children out there. We need, so I get it, I understand, but by the same token, I don't want to see us robbed of our creativity and our initiative and our drive by becoming so overly reliant on government. Yes, I get why we depend on government, because government is all we had, but I want it more. And so I want you to want more, and I want you to have more. I don't want you to settle for a life of dependency, and I want to create an America where they can have more. I think that too many black conservatives have gotten disassociated and detached from their own communities. But when you have maintained those connections, and when you are there and people know who you are, I think that it is far easier. They may say, you know what, I don't agree with Kay, but I think she's really sincere and wanting to help her people. You know, passion, love, concern covers a multitude of things. So I think if you are authentic and believable and present and in the community, people of goodwill who genuinely want to solve some very complex problems are going to have to set that aside and say, let's sit down at a table. I want to go places and have conversation and discussion where maybe conservatives have never been before. And people are sick of the anger and the vitriol. Why do we have to hate each other because we have different ideas? If we got the politicians out of it, if we took all the interest groups and lobbyists out of it, we could probably solve the healthcare crisis in America today. But when policy is made in this town, follow the money, follow the lobbyists, follow the talking points. You know, people are more concerned about votes and getting elections. That's one of the reasons I'm excited about being at the Heritage Foundation, because I can step out of all of that and talk pure policy without worrying about getting reelected or trying to earn extra money as a lobbyist. My story, you know, growing up welfare mom, absent father, and who have realized the hope and opportunity and everything that this country has to offer and have, you know, grown to have a very successful life. My story is not that unique at all. There are many out there who have similar stories, so I am not an anomaly. I'm not an anomaly because I'm a conservative. Most black folks are, by the way. I'll tell you what is different is that God has given me the grace to come in and have the patience to work within this movement and within this community to help inform, instruct, to be taught. I want us to have compassionate policy, but I don't want policy which destroys and takes away initiative and hope. So things like that.